All right. Let's start off by saying, Barakateh Hawa, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakha Kudash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is while the elite are rolling out their agenda, sellouts are putting you back to sleep. And I'm joined with the Elder Pishai.
Shalom.
And if I didn't say it, Barakateh Hawa, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakha Kudash. So, I wanted to touch on this article that I found, or it was Reuters, not Reuters, sorry, Democracy Now, Amy Goodman. She was doing like a little, she does a little, 10, 15-minute clips on, world history or world news. And pretty much there was one point that, it's something brothers already been bringing out, but there was one point where, I'm just trying to find it real quick. There's one point where she brought out this one particular point of National Guard told to create quick reaction forces for civil unrest. And pretty much, I'm going to try to see if I can get that here. This is from Military Times. And I'm sure there's other sources like Reuters and others, that are, speaking about this. So pretty much the National Guard, you know what, I just put quick response team.
Quick reaction forces.
I'm sorry.
I found it.
Quick reaction forces.
Yep.
Quick reaction forces. Let me just put it, January 2026. All right, we got it right here, Military Times. And then pretty much what's happening is that the Pentagon, right, as it says here, let me go back. It says the Pentagon has ordered states to form National Guard quick reaction forces to be operational by January 1st, 2026. And pretty much, we've been telling you that we're in the time of Jacob's trouble, and it's just going to get more and more intense. Matter of fact, we can start off with Daniel 12.
Come on.
Unless you had something?
No.
And it's going to get more and more intense. We're coming to the wire. It's rubber meets the pavement. This is all that the prophets have prophesied long ago about this time. We're in the midst of it. We're in the midst of it right now. This is what the apostles asked, when they were disciples, asked Yahushai, will thou at this time, I'm sorry, that one too, will thou at this time restore the kingdom of heaven to Israel, but also the one where he said, what shall be the sign of that coming and of the end of the world?
Yeah, Matthew 24.
Right, and when you go into that word world in that chapter there, because we go into the Greek, into the Hebrew, unlike other individuals in Barakateh Hawa B'Shem Yahushai for that spirit. The word there for world is eon, and eon is an age. Now, every empire that has ruled on the planet, because you had different empires that had us in captivity, but there were major empires that actually ruled, like the Egyptians, Assyrians, Babylonians, so on and so forth, right? But we're at the very end of that age, because each one of those empires had a particular time to be set up and a particular time to fall. This is why when the Babylonians were established, the Babylonian Empire took down the Assyrian Empire. It was a point where the Assyrian Empire couldn't continue anymore as the head of everything. So the Babylonians took over. Then you had the Medes that were a wrecking force at that time. And the Medes, they helped the Babylonians do other things, right? And eventually what happened was when the Persians came into the picture, the Persians became greater than the Medes, so they ruled jointly. This is why it's called the Medo-Persian Empire. Then it came a point where it was thought madness to fight or even think about coming against and waging war against the Persian Empire.
Right.
But what happened? The Lord had already prophesied that there was going to be another kingdom that was going to come up, which were the Greeks. And Alexander, what they call him the Great, we call him the Greek, the freak, he was the man that was set up and established to bring about the demise of the Medo-Persian Empire and the rise of the Greco-Roman Empire. So all of these different empires ruled in stages. You know, there were different ages that each one of them ruled. So we're at the point now where we're at the very end of the rule of all of these heathen empires. You know, so while the elite are out there rolling out their plans, setting up shop, setting up everything in place, you know, just putting the last bits of tweaks in their infrastructure, their digital infrastructure, you got sellouts out there, you know, putting you back to sleep. You know, talking about the nations can be said. Here it is. We're in some serious prophetic times, and these guys talking about some nations can be saved, and hell and bullshit like that. You know.
Yeah.
But let's get there real quick.
Yep. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that time. And like you said, all the other nations had their time to rule, and there was a point in time of that empire where they will go down. And we're witnessing that now. You know, as it said, there was a nation, right? But this time it's going to be far worse. And that's why you have these different bugged out doctrines. You have a lot of distractions, you know, because of the great demise, which is about to come to Babylon the Great, you know. Just like during the Roman Empire, you had a lot more bread and circuses. You know, the entertainment was dwindling. You had many signs and distractions to alter the people's minds from realizing what was actually happening.
Right. Bread and circuses.
Bread and circuses. You know, and then, as you mentioned too, Apostle, in the history, they talk about how there was many apostates as well. You know, so there's no new thing under the sun, especially dealing with the same beast that's in power right now. The same man, Esau, Edom.
Right.
So the same old dog, you know, same old tricks. How you say it? No, different tricks, same dog, or whatever the case is.
Something like that.
You know,
one trick pony.
Yeah, it's one trick pony.
Yeah.
You know, the same thing that he did back then when he was falling from his old empires. He's going to do the same thing now.
Yeah, and all these different individuals you see today were here back then. That's why Yahushua said, you know, this generation shall not pass to all be fulfilled. So that generation back then would be the final generation in this time, where all of these things that were spoken of by the prophets would be fulfilled.
That's right.
Because the ultimate thing that all the disciples, all of the prophets were looking for was the destruction of the heathen empires and the kingdom of Yahushua. And they were searching for the time when Yahushua was going to suffer what he had to suffer, in order, because they understood that once Yahushua suffered, because it was revealed to them, once he suffered, then the kingdom of heaven would be established.
Right.
Then then Israel will be back into power. Israel will be good.
Yeah. Even Caiaphas said it.
Yep.
Even he knew. He was wicked and he knew. You know? So that was always the...
Matter of fact, you know what? Let's get that.
John 11.
Yeah, let's get there real quick. 11:47.
Con.
Because that's a good, another good starting point too. So here it is. While these devils are rolling out their agenda, here it is. You got these sellouts, twisting the doctrine.
Con. You mind if I start at 45?
Whatever, yeah. You use your discernment.
Con. John 11:45. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yahushua did believed on him.
That's it.
And that's what's going on right now as we're bringing forth the word, prophesying. It's the same energy that when Yahushua was on the scene causing miracles, he was stirring up the people.
Yep.
And it's the same thing right now. Oh, that was this with the Pharisees. I believe it was the Sadducees as well. He said, you're causing trouble with your doctrine.
Yep.
That was said to the apostles.
Yeah. And then they said, these that have turned the world upside
down.
Yeah.
Right. And yep. Same thing with Paul when he was thrown into the when he brought the Greeks into the temple.
Yeah.
They said this is the man that they were basically saying caused all this trouble everywhere.
Yep.
And that's what this word has done via the internet. It's causing a ruckus and a shaking within the Roman power structure, the modern day Roman Empire, which is Babylon the Great, right? It says, but some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yahushua had done. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him.
That's it.
And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. So as the doctrines are rising, they're witnessing and understanding, I should say, that this would cause an uproar. This will cause a problem. It says, and one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, ye know nothing at all,
That's it.
nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not.
There you go.
And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahushua should die for that nation, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of the Most High, which are the Israelites, all right, that were scattered abroad.
That's it. So it's telling you right here, it's saying, and not for that nation only. So, oh, Jesus, there's the other ones. But that also he should gather together in one the children of the Most High that were scattered abroad.
Right.
And that's talking about the elect of the nation of Israel and Israel in general. Because the salvation is for all Israel. It's just in this time, only the elect are going to be saved.
That's right.
Now when we look up that word scattered, right? Scattered abroad, the word there is diascorpizo. Diascorpizo. To scatter abroad, disperse, to winnow, to throw the grain a considerable distance. Right, and what is that grain? The seed of Israel.
Yeah.
And that's why Cornelius, whose name means colonel,
Right.
he was the first seed to be among the Israelite foreigners to be brought into the fold. Because prior to that, they were gone.
Yeah.
It says, or up into the air, that it may be separated from the chaff, to gather the wheat freed from the chaff into the granary, to winnow grain. So that's the dispersed of the nation of Israel, the ones that are scattered. The people of the Most High are not all people, right? So the word dia is because diascorpizo is a compound word. Dia is through or by, and scorpizo is to scatter, through the scattering.
Through the scattering.
So these people that it's talking about the Israelites, but it's sounding like it's talking about two different people. Right? Because it says, and not for that nation only. Oh, see, the heathen, no. It says, but that also he should gather together in one the children of the Most High. Who are the children of the Most High? Israel is my son, even my firstborn.
Yeah.
That were scattered abroad.
That's it. Yeah. It's simple. It's simple. This is the salvation, the death of Yahushua does not pertain to other nations.
Nope.
That sacrifice, that blood sacrifice, to cover the sins of the world. What world? The world of Israel.
That's it.
And guess what? The elites know that.
Oh yeah.
And this is why you have these makeshift, false doctrine teachers out there, because they're nothing but a distraction for what's truly about to happen. Eventually, there's going to come a point in time where they're just washed away.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what Esau does. He sets up people, and he sets up
distractions.
He sets up distractions. He sets up different individuals, and then once he's done with them, they just get rolled over in the street.
Yep. They that concern to them shall be had in derision.
Come, yup. You're gonna be in a jacked up state, and then he's gonna look to implement his new world agenda.
You haven't learned from history that once the devil uses you up and don't need you, he casts you off.
Right.
These like the elder pastor said, these top scholars, right? You're talking about Hakan Hassad, these top scholars, but then when it comes to the word, take or this Ainah in the book of Deuteronomy 22, 28, 29,
Yep.
they for some reason that just escapes them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're top scholars. They can go into all these different manuscripts and the Dead Sea Scrolls,
right.
And this manuscript, but then you can't discern the word great in there.
Yeah, which they know it, but they are taught with they're pacifists, because they're all about money. They're all about money, and they're set up. They're not set up for the flock. That's what the scripture tell you. And 2nd Ezra 15.
Yeah, and then pretty much they're ravenous wolves. You're not
Yes.
sparing the flock.
Exactly.
So what they're doing is they're stripping away the clothing off of Israel, because the clothing represents His truth.
Right.
And they're really, what they're doing is they're putting on you that strange apparel. So not only are they, breaking the law by doing that, they're also causing others to break the law too.
Yeah.
Remember what Yahushua said to the wicked Pharisees in them.
Yeah.
Look, he that basically he that breaketh this law and teaches others to do so,
he shall be least in the kingdom of heaven.
There you go, the water.
Yeah. Yup. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15. I'll go straight to the point, verse 10.
2nd Ezra 15 and 10?
Yes.
All right, you got it.
Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. And it's no coincidence that this great awakening of the Hebrew Israelites is happening right now, right? And simultaneously, what are you seeing? You're seeing, like you brought out, with this whole agenda of the militarization of Babylon the Great.
Right. Those we're gonna get back to that.
One of the brothers was bringing out earlier how what is Noah, whatever how you say his name. He was
Yuval Noah Harari.
Yuval Noah Harari. He's making an AI Bible, right? Because everything is in order for the New World Agenda to be accomplished, you have to change the ideology of the people.
Right. You can't set up a new world order if the old world order is still standing.
Right. That's right. Yeah, the concept of building and destroying. They know that they have to destroy in order to build, just like a building. You have a construction site. You want to build a new building. What do you have to do? You have to knock down the old building, throw that thing away, and rebuild.
Order up Kale.
Gone.
This is why they believe in that mythical bird, the phoenix.
The rising from the ashes.
Bird, it dies, it burns, and then it rises from the ashes. Yeah.
That's what Esau plans to do. That's his agenda on earth. But that's why we have Yahweh Shah. This is why it's important to teach the right almost to fortify your mind against the wiles of the devil.
That's it.
2nd Ezra 15 and 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter.
Salaki, I gotta interject right there.
No doubt.
Because it said that my people are led as a flock to the slaughter. This is Isaiah 65 and 11.
God.
But ye are they that forsake the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish a drink offering unto that number, which is what, the 2/3 here in America.
They're preparing a table. That's the flock. That's because what do you have? In order to prepare a table, especially in the ancient times, you would have a slaughter. Yep. You have to have a slaughter to prepare the table.
There you go.
And you simple-minded individuals who follow after these false prophets, these false teachers, you're going to be led to the slaughter. You're going to be a part of that table.
Yep.
While the elect of the nation of Israel is going to be covered by the blood of Yahweh Shah, because what the scriptures tell you were bought with a price.
Yeah.
The blood has already been shed for the elect.
That's it.
And
you're furnishing, that table.
Right.
You're laying everything out for Jake. They're drinking that botched wine.
Right.
That fly in the ointment. Yayan.
Right.
And it's off. So so it says here, therefore I will number you to the sword, and you shall bow down to the slaughter, because when I called you did not answer, when I spake you did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes. This is why the Lord set up these individuals as stumbling blocks.
Right.
And did choose that wherein I delighted not. So you are the flock of the slaughter. You are the ones that are being set up to be destroyed. That's why you could go back there.
Yep. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verse 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter.
There you go.
I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Mm-hmm. And that's talking about the elect. The elect is going to be delivered. Why? Because just like in ancient Egypt, the blood was on the doorpost.
Yeah.
And that blood in this time represents what? The right doctrine.
That's
all right. First and foremost, the starting, let me say that. Gotta say that. The name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
That's it.
All right. And then what comes with the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, in order to make that blood effective, is the obedience in the doctrine.
That's it.
Which in turn is what? Faith.
Sound doctrine.
Sound doctrine.
Yep.
The right doctrine. The tree of life. You eating from some other tree. Look what happened. You all right? Look what happened. It's the same concept. You basically got these individuals. They planted a separate tree for the people to eat from.
Right.
You know, that won't cover them from the wiles of the devil, from Satan, from Esau, Edom. All right, from the New World agenda, from them getting chipped. And that's the thing. All right, and if you're the prophets, you're the men of the Lord, right? You're supposed to be warning the people. Why is it okay? All right, whatever. We know that whole concept of the nations being delivered is some bullshit. But why is it never brought up about the MOTB? Them dudes never talk about the MOTB. Ultimately, why? Because the Holy Spirit's not dealing with you. You know.
And this is why these troops are being established.
Right.
They're being set up because the Lord is going to use them to exact His vengeance upon you hard-headed Israelites out there. I got another quick one. Isaiah 10:5. O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. Remember, in Romans 13 it says that Esau pretty much doesn't bear the sword in vain.
Yeah. I was thinking of that. Matter of fact, I'll go to it. That's the spirit.
Yeah. So that power that Esau has to bring about this new world order and to establish these military forces is the rod of the Most High's anger. That's going to be laid. It's going to be laid on you.
Yeah. This is Romans 13 and verse 3. I'll go to that. Start there.
You got it.
Yup. It says, "For rulers are not terrors to good works, all right, but to the evil." Right. So again, the doctrine. There's a reason why these individuals are twisting the doctrine, because that is what's going to cover you. Right. But it said, "What rulers are not terrors unto good works." Who's the ruler? Esau, Edom. All right. He's going to bring terror through the troops, through the military, through the technology.
That's right.
You know, but you'll be covered if what you're doing, you're good in the eyes of the Lord by what? Being obedient in the doctrine of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua.
That's it.
It says, "Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power?"
Yeah, because the power is of the Most High.
Yeah.
So Esau's power, his indignation that he's coming with, is really put upon him by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua.
Exactly. It says, "Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same."
Right, and even because we're witnesses to that. How back in the days, even before I came into the truth, when the elders before me were getting arrested, the COs and all them down there, the police officers, when the brothers were brought down to the precinct, they said, "One thing I gotta say about you Israelites, that you're a gentleman." And then even when we got arrested back in 2002, the year after the World Trade, when we went down there, the CO that was there, they put down that we were a gang, this, that, and the other. And she read it, said, "Gang, Hebrew Israelites gang, they're not a gang."
Right.
So we already had, like even though they looked at our views as crazy, but they knew that we conducted ourselves, with wisdom,
Right.
when it came to dealing with Esau and the authorities.
Yeah.
And that's what the Apostle Paul's saying right here. For rulers are not a terror to good works.
Yeah. Scriptures also say, "When a man's ways please the Lord, even his enemies shall be at peace with him."
There you go.
And we're going to need that peace in the very near future. When Esau get the rolling, man, because the scripture tell you, "He bear not the sword in vain."
Right.
Matter of fact, that's the spirit. Yup.
And they are going to roll.
Come.
Starting January 1st, you saw, we're going to hit it, Lord's will. It's starting January 1st. It says the Pentagon has ordered states to form National Guard, all 50 states, quick reaction forces to be operational by January 1st, 2026 for domestic disturbances. And they're training right now.
Yeah.
How to deal, in a urban environment.
Yeah.
In these different cities. Most states will be required to train 500 members with a total of 23,500 troops nationwide, which, brothers already been bringing this out. But the point is, here it is, these devils are rolling out their agenda, and you sellouts are blind, trying to put the veil back over Jake's eyes.
Right.
It says, nationwide, the initiative was prompted by an earlier executive order and will include training from military trainers sent to all states and territories. And we're going to get the article. But you got it.
Yep. It says, we have read that. Verse 4. For he is the minister of the Most High, of thee for good.
Right.
But if thou do that which is evil,
There you go.
be afraid.
And that's why he's going to come down upon you Jakes out here that are part of the 2/3.
Right.
You know, because you're doing that which is evil, where the Lord, you know, doesn't find pleasing. And you're going to get caught up, you know, in that web when these devils start rolling. Go ahead.
For he beareth not the sword in vain.
Right, so he doesn't bear the sword in vain. They're set up as a military power over the earth, you know, and they don't bear the sword in vain.
Mm-hmm.
And that wrath that you see coming down upon them is the wrath of the Lord. Go ahead.
For he is the minister of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil.
There you go.
And that's why them dudes are set up.
That's it.
You know, it's simultaneously everything is happening. You know, these people these guys, Hakas, Assad, right? They're straight up set up for deception to deceive the people for you to do evil.
Yep.
So you can be set up for the slaughter. It's just that simple.
That's it.
Yep. That was it on that.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to Isaiah 10 real quick. And it's Isaiah 10 and 5. I will send him against an hypocritical nation, which is you Israelites. You are rebellious Israelites. And against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to lead them down, and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Right, and this is, you know, captured in 2 Ezra 15 and 2 Ezra 16. When it says they shall be like madmen sparing none. You got it.
Come.
Go back to 2 Ezra.
Come.
Oh yeah, and by the way, today's not the Sabbath. That comes in tonight. I know the brother put in, you know, Shabbat Shalom to all, you know. It comes in tonight. You know, it's Wednesday night to Thursday night. You got it.
Yep. Verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof.
Right, and the land of Egypt was not destroyed.
Right.
The firstborn was destroyed. It was 10 plagues that stirred everything up.
Right.
But the land was not destroyed.
Yeah.
It was the main thing that was really destroyed was Pharaoh and his military.
Yeah, his military. Yeah. But later on, it talks about how, and I believe that's Nahum.
Okay, that brother says he's in the east. Okay, brother. All right.
Khan.
So it's a different time zone. Okay. All right. Salaki, I didn't know you were over there, brother.
Khan.
Shalom to you.
Shalom. Shalom.
Go ahead.
You know, I was just saying it talks about that the city N-O.
Yep.
Yeah, but that was taken down by Nebuchadnezzar. So that's when later on the Egyptians, they went down way later, you know, as opposed to, you know, the time frame of when Moses was on the scene, you know, and when the children of Israel were in captivity. So to the apostles' point, Egypt was not thrown down while having the children of Israel in captivity. So this has to be talking about modern day Egypt.
Right.
All right. What was that? Revelation 11.
Yep.
You know, which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt.
Yep.
Okay, where their dead bodies shall, will lie. It's talking about here in America, man. You know. It says, verse 12, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Right. And a part of the plague and the punishment is what? Is a great confusion, where these individuals, the troops are gonna roll, man.
Yep.
You know?
And we're gonna have to get there too in 2 Ezra 16. But you know, let's stay in this for a little bit.
Yep. It says verse 13. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting in hell and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hand.
Right, and we're you know about to witness, you know, some real serious times happening. You know, like we've been saying, we're in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. You know, matter of fact, before we read on, I'm gonna just jump to this article real quick.
Come on.
So just remember where the verse you left off at. So this is military times. National Guard told to create quick reaction forces for civil unrest, and this is they've been stirring this up. This is why they got people all up in, they from 2020. no, it goes before that, but from 2020, people's finances have been dwindling. And in 2025, they, cut the EBT, SNAP, and all that for a certain point of time.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are by the end of the year, people are desperate.
Yeah.
They're catching hell, paying their bills. They have to choose whether they're gonna put gas in the car, pay their bills, or eat.
Yeah. And then they celebrate these wicked holidays.
There you go.
And they spending all their money up.
That's it. That's it. So pretty much these people they're really tired. You even have situations whether it's set up or not, where you have these ICE agents going around places in Chicago and other places, and people are stopping them from arresting people. So whether it's set up or not, this is all setting the stage for total anarchy.
Yeah, a clash.
There you go.
Yup. It says
Sellouts.
My bad. Yeah.
This is dated October 31st, 2025, which this was like last month. But the point is, they're still rolling it out. So they're saying by January 1st it's going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Military leaders have ordered the National Guard in every state to develop a quick reaction force of troops trained to deal with civil disturbances and riots that can be ready to deploy with just hours' notice. Now, according to this article and others, and even the news that I was watching earlier of Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman, this is going to happen, January 1st of 2026. It says the latest indication of longer-term Trump administration plans to more readily dispatch soldiers to U.S. streets, and that's called what? That's called That's called martial law, which is when the
military.
The military comes in, but the people, the police forces and all that are they have to take a back seat,
right,
so that the military can take over.
Yeah.
So pretty much, it's martial law.
The law of war.
There you go. The law, pretty much, the military is in control now, which that's not supposed to happen.
Right.
But this devil Trump, he's pushing forward. You have the Posse Comitatus Act, which prevented that. But there's ways around. See, with Esau's laws is dubious. Esau's laws are ambiguous, so they're very open ended. So they have laws that can trump other laws.
Yeah.
For a certain period of time. So he's finding ways around the loopholes. He's finding the loopholes, to be able to bring in this martial law that normally you wouldn't be able to do. In certain cases. It says the latest indication of longer-term Trump administration. Oh, okay, I read that already. A set of memos circulated this month directs Guard units in all 50 states and U.S. territories except for the District of Columbia. Why the District of Columbia or D.C.? Why can't they do it there? Because they're operating under a different law than the rest of the so-called country.
Right.
But the laws that govern the 10 square miles of D.C. pretty much have been used upon the American public. But they're still separate from everything else.
Yeah.
So it says to train a contingent of soldiers in a specialized course that includes the proper use of batons, body shields, stun guns, and pepper spray. Until
somebody gets shot.
That's it.
Until a round goes off.
And
all hell breaks loose.
Yep. And then I wouldn't be surprised if, either they pay somebody to do it, or these citizens get so tired that they start busting back at the cops.
Well, there's one gentleman, he was a military general, I forget what branch or whatever have you. He said typically what happens is when you have these deployments of the military, there's always this young, sporadic individual in the military that's waiting to go off because of all that training. Yeah, he got an itchy trigger finger, and then something small happens and he just, and then and then it's a shootout.
It escalates, yeah.
And then it escalates, you know.
Or like the situation with Oscar Grant, out there in Fruitvale Station. In France.
Yup. Yeah. Just, but it's all in the power in the hands of the Lord for these things to occur, because it's about Everything's about to heighten. We're not going into 2026 where majority, the world, all the, with these New Year resolutions and looking for a bright future and things of that nature. Nah, it's about to get darker out here.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and what the Lord is doing is He's stirring Jake up. I'm gonna read this real quick. Genesis 49:9.
Come.
Judah is the lion's whelp from the prey, my son. Thou art gone up. Who is the prey? The Esau, the Esau, right? Judah is the so-called Negroes. From the prey that are gone up because they pretty much lost interest in the prey. They've been so beat down and fighting for crumbs that they forgot the bigger picture.
Right.
It says he stooped down, he couched as a lion and as an old lion. Right, an old lion is lazy. He don't want to do nothing. He want people to bring him the food,
Yeah.
He don't want to go out hunting.
The EBT, the Section 8.
Yep.
Just full dependency on the government.
Yeah.
So to the point where if you have that mind frame, there's no way to look at that system as your enemy.
Right. That's right. It says, who shall rouse him up? So the Lord is going to rouse him up. But what's the Lord going to do to rouse him up? He's going to cause this constant oppression and constant, hard times and constant, state of desperation to settle in to the point where Jake just snaps.
Right.
Like in the case of back in 1992 with the Rodney King verdict.
Right.
Jake just snapped. Back in 1969, the Watts riot. Jake snapped. So it's going to be something, far worse than that.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting to see what actually sets everything off.
Right. Yeah, because the whole thing with the ICE, and Trump with the National Guard and all that was just a prequel because ultimately they want to have access to the Judites.
Yeah.
Right now, the Northern Kingdom is the persecution and they're the front page of the news. Eventually, it's going to be so-called Negroes.
That's it.
And it's no mystery that that's the case because, not for nothing, all the tribes are out there teaching, but the main face, they call it what? The Black Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you target, it's all a mask, essentially, to come at the word.
That's it. That's it. So let me go back to the article real quick. It says, signed by Major General Ronald Burkitt, Operations Director for the National Guard. The memos reviewed by the Associated Press give various numbers of each state's force, often 500 each. The total more than 23,000 troops in all. The memos direct Washington, D.C. to maintain a specialized military police battalion with 50 National Guard soldiers on active duty orders. It presses forward with President Donald Trump's broader vision for a muscular role for the U.S. Remember what Pete Hegseth said? He said, we're going to bring peace through war.
Right.
It says military and targeting illegal immigration and crime. So this so-called illegal immigration. This was the excuse. This is why Biden, allowed them to come, these so-called migrants to come into the country. And it was more than just the Latin tribes coming into the country. But for some reason, it's the Latin tribes that are the worst. That they're the most biggest threat. You got agents from other nations coming in here that are bigger threats than Jake here. That's coming here to pretty much to serve you and work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're the biggest threat. But this was the and then you're thinking that Biden is cool because he let them in. Trump is cool because he's getting them out. But they're both working together. It was a plan the whole time.
Right.
You have something called order out of chaos. This is what these devils are creating. And when you have all these extra people in here getting the benefits that that's supposed to go to the so-called American people, it causes a shortage. And it causes that friction. It says he has already pushed traditional boundaries by sending the National Guard into American cities, often over the objection of Democratic local leaders.
Right.
The memos reported earlier by The Guardian come after Trump signed an executive order in August that directed the Pentagon to create quick reaction forces that would be available for rapid nationwide deployment. Like I said, brothers already been bringing this out. We just ran across it today again, so I just wanted to touch on it through the Spirit. The executive order is cited as one of the authorities for the memo, about which the Pentagon did not immediately respond to a request for comment. says the National Guard has always had troops that were on standby to deploy at a moment's notice, but they traditionally have been used to quickly react to natural disasters and did not receive special training.
Right.
This time they're receiving special training on how to deal with crowd control in these inner cities.
Right. Because they're expecting something to happen.
Exactly. Because they're pushing for something to happen.
Right. Con.
You know?
Yeah. Because the Most High is the one stirring it up and using Esau to push it.
The rod of his indignation.
Yeah, exactly. Yup.
It says the new specialized quick reaction forces will be able to deploy a fourth of all their troops within 8 hours and all of those assigned to the units within a day, according to the memo. During a roundtable at the White House last week with Homeland Security officials, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, that go that devil, was asked about a memo detailing similar plans. Hegseth said we would not comment to the particulars, but went on to say that there were multiple layers of National Guard response forces.
And that's how the devil gets down. We're not going to respond to particulars. What do you mean not going to respond to particulars? That's because there's a hidden agenda behind it.
There you go.
Because now you can't, when something does jump off, you can't revert back to them and say, look, you said this about this particular situation. It's him hiding himself.
Yeah.
You know?
So we've got a lot of different ways that constitutionally and legally we can employ guard troops, and we will do so when necessary, Hegseth said. So, you get the idea, you could type this in, you could just type in National Guard. I mean, like I said, brothers have touched on this, but you could type in National Guard told to create quick reaction forces, or you could type in quick reaction forces, National Guard, January 2026, and you'll get all kind of information on it. So let's go back to the scripture you were at.
If I may.
Yes, sir. What you got?
Revelation 12 and 12.
All right, let me get that real quick. Revelation 12. Go ahead.
Yep. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea.
Wait a minute. Ain't that the same thing we're reading in 2 Ezra 15?
Yeah.
Woe to the world.
Right. Woe to the world. That's right. It says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
There you go. So they know that their time is running out. So they got an agenda. This is why they keep saying 2020 agenda and the 2030 agenda and this agenda and that agenda. Because they pushing, for this agenda to be set in place so that they can finally have everybody where they want them. Because they have more than heart could wish. They don't need anything,
Right.
But what they want is they want total control over everybody. So the word for wrath is thumos. It says passion, angry, heat, anger, forthwith boiling up and soon subsiding again. And when would that be? When they finally get the world where they want it. It says glow, ardor, the wine of passion, and flaming wine, which either drives the drinker mad or kills him with its strength. And Esau is on a one-way trajectory to his own destruction, his own demise.
An ultimate crash out.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. He's the ultimate crash out.
And doesn't realize that the system that he's putting in place and the plans that he's putting in place goes right along with the Most High's plans. And when you get that implemented, in Job 20, that's when the Lord's going to cast the wrath of his fury upon you. Because you're going to get it up and going. It's up and going, but you're going to get it fully up and going. And then that's when the Lord's going to step in and smash it.
Yep, real quick. Psalms 7.
Okay, Psalms. Oh, man, yeah. So that's a good chapter. Go ahead.
Yep, Psalm chapter 7. And start at verse 14. Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and hath conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood.
That's it.
He made a pit and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch where he made.
Right, so this pit is what? The New World Order.
Right.
He digged the pit, but he covered it up, right?
Yeah.
And don't realize where it's at. So he's like walking backwards, he about to fall right into that pit.
Yeah. Because he's startled. He doesn't know what to do because the whole time, look, if you look, for instance, the whole concept of the Statue of Liberty, that was sent from the French to
Yep.
because of what? The birth of the New World agenda.
Yeah, the Freemasons.
The Freemasons, which I forget what year was that, 1700s, 1800s?
I forget the exact year.
But it was after the
yeah.
Revolutionary War, or the Civil War, one of the two. But that was going back hundreds of years ago.
Right.
But it was what? For this time right now, for them to set up their agenda so that they can have control of the earth, starting with here in America. But the Most High had a so-called trick up his sleeve, if you will. Yeah, he had that trump card in his hand, to where, you have playing poker or whatever, and then somebody throw out a hand and say, they look like, I got it. I'm about to bring home all the chips. And then somebody pull out something that trumps everything. And that's what the Most High did with the word.
1884.
1884. Con. And that's...
And you know what's heavy? When they first... Because, they gave them... Because they was brought in pieces.
Uh-huh.
And they gave it to America, but America was in charge of setting up, the foundation and everything.
Right.
And then when they was first setting it up, they wanted to paint it purple and red, purple and scarlet.
Yeah.
And it had an actual cup in the hand. But what happened is when you have copper out there in the sea, it
oxidizes. Yeah.
So that's why they weren't able to do it. That's why it's green. It's that's nothing but copper oxidation.
Yeah.
And then they changed the cup into a light. From the history that we've gone through, they changed the cup into a light because it was supposed to be so that the people coming in the ships can see the harbor.
Right. Because Ellis Island and all that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So 1884, the French Freemasons it was.
So 140 years? Yeah, 140 years ago. So that's roughly 141, 142 years. And that was for what? The birth of the New World agenda, right? So the initiation of it. So this devil has been devising this same plan for all this time for him to for him to just go down. But what is the intervening? The intervening is the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the men of the Lord. The people that he jacked up, called them so-called Negroes, called them Hispanics, called them Native Americans, took away their nationality, right? So in his mind, we here, we got it.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden, boom, the word of the Lord comes out, and then there's a great uprising. And then he starts to see, oh shit, maybe my plans might not work. What are we gonna do? Oh, let's get these individuals out here that's gonna alter what's being said. In the meantime, he's still trying to force the course.
Yep.
But
you ain't gonna be able to do shit.
Right.
You're gonna do what the Lord made you to do.
That's it.
So we get a couple more precepts and get ready to close out.
Come.
Ready to.
Yep. This is I'll go back to 2nd Ezra 15. 15.
Yep.
For the sword and the destruction drove nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands.
Right, because the destruction is drawing nigh. So that's why Yahweh said, when you see these signs, then you know that that the end is near, even at the door. I'm just merely paraphrasing, and this is how we know that we're at that time, because right now, the prophecies are rolling out, especially this technology that Esau has.
Come. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power.
Right, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. It's going to be anarchy. No laws to govern, because the people are going to take matters into their own hand.
Right.
They're not going to regard, your senators, your mayors, your presidents, your vice presidents, your police officers, sheriff, none of that. They're not going to regard any of them.
Yeah.
Because, they got these people in a cage, they got them locked up in a cage, constantly being oppressed, constantly, being bogged down, and people are just going to snap.
Yeah.
Hey, what did Gerald Solenti say? When people have nothing to lose,
they lose it. Right. Yeah, it's like a flame. It's like a flame in a wick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then Esau is striking a match and lighting that fire.
Yeah.
And once you light that fire, you ain't gonna be able to put it out.
Yeah, that's it. Once that wick is lit, it's over, man. It's gonna be a great powder keg. explosion, man.
There you go.
You know, it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's the New World agenda.
That's it.
That's it. And then this is why when you go through like these main main interstates, right? They're taking down these toll booths and setting up those basically Easy Pass,
right,
or whatever it's called in different parts of the
it's
country.
pretty much digital.
Yeah, everything is digital. The transportation is becoming digital.
That's it.
The MDL.
Well, you were saying there were buses that be taking pictures.
Yeah. My brother told me, and he was riding in Harlem, and he drove in the bus lane, and then you're not allowed to drive in the bus lane, so the bus that was behind him flashed him and sent them a ticket for riding in the bus lane. So in other words, the city, the city workers, all right, the city's infrastructure itself is going against the people, and it's digital.
Yeah, and that's what happened, at 34th and 7th. Because we used to go down there all the time, but there came a point where they started to change everything up and charging a lot more because they were getting everything ready.
Right.
That's when the Elder Pastor called it Elf
City.
City.
Yep.
I forgot the name of the movie.
Bright. That's Bright.
Bright. Okay.
Yeah, with Will Smith.
Yeah.
With the elves.
Yeah.
It was, but that's Amalek.
Yeah.
Basically, that was Amalek. You know, and then like the other, the dudes with they was kind of like Issachar or whatever, with the kind of look like walruses or whatever.
Yep.
Blue. But that was Amalek. You couldn't come around Amalek. And see, that's another aspect of what's going on, because that's why the major prophecy is to look for, of course, is the MOTB, but the least of the flock drawing them out.
That's it.
The whole enmity of the world against the state of the Jewish people. And this is why you're going to have places like El City, because these people are going to be hated throughout the earth.
You wish you were.
Right. And they're going to become a target. That's what they want. That.
Yeah.
They want those people to become a target, so it can cause the anarchy, it can cause the people, the sedition.
That's it.
And
this is why they have to make shit up.
Right.
Of them suffering that when they're not suffering nothing. Ain't nobody fucking with them. They fucking with everybody else.
We the ones, our people the ones suffering, getting jailed and thrown in concentration camps, alligator, Alcatraz, and shipped from one country to another, getting ragged up. It was 2 days ago, old boy, he told me they just did a whole sweep at another Home Depot over in the east side of Baltimore.
Damn.
So it's our people who are the ones being persecuted and ridiculed for no damn reason.
Yeah.
As opposed to what they told you about those people. Because that's how everybody's supposed to feel. So I see nobody likes them.
That's the major threat. Not the drug dealers, not the drug addicts, not the T to the terrorists that are in this country that snuck in through the border. Not anything else in America, not the PDF files or none of that.
No, yeah.
The major ones, the ones that pick your crops, that cook your food, that cut your lawn and all that. Those are the major threats.
Yeah.
To America.
Yeah. Because they're scared of them receiving the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua.
That's it.
There's
an agenda behind the agenda.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, you have to have the eye salve. The Holy Spirit got to work with you for you to see that.
Yeah. And that's that.
Come on. Yeah.
All right. So matter of fact, read a couple more verses.
Okay, no problem. Verse 17. Oh no, verse 18. For because of their pride, the city.
17.
A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
Right, because you're gonna have martial law. You're gonna have, look at the movie In Time. You had, people live basically off their time, so they have to work to put time on their clock.
Right.
If they went to zero, they would die. And the poor were only allowed to move in their sector. But you had the poor, the rich people that had more time. They were able to go to different districts and different zones.
Yeah.
But the less fortunate, the downtrodden, they couldn't go out there.
Right.
Right. So this is what Esau wants. He wants to establish a place where everyone is constantly under surveillance. 1984. And everyone is subject to being watched 24/7, and they're have to, there will be a device put into people so that they can be able to monitor you.
Yeah.
Your every move.
Yeah.
They even want your thoughts. Even in the movie 1984, it said that you were thought criminals.
Mm.
So if you have an independent thought outside of what's being pushed by the government, then you're an enemy.
That was the whole
You're
T word.
No, you're a criminal.
Mm.
You know, just like right now, Trump is saying that these homeless people,
Right.
you
Right.
know, are like basically labeled like criminals.
Yeah.
But you got what you gonna say?
It slipped my
You was
mind.
about
It's
to
all
say
good.
something, yeah.
It's all good.
You know, but so this is what they want to establish. You know, and this is why they want this I'm about to say Moabite, which that's who they are, Moabite, the Chinese social credit system in America.
Yeah.
Because that is like the model for the New World.
Yeah. Yeah. Babylon in Asia.
Yeah. So
Babylon in Asia.
Yeah. So you will only be able to function in the system if you comply with the rules. But if you don't, then you get your goodies taken away.
Yeah.
And you have to continually get those brownie points, literally, in order for you to be able to operate in the system, because they want to have a people that have no independent thought.
Right.
All your whole being will be just to do what the state says.
That's what I was going to say. January 6th. All the people that were participated in January 6th, they were thrown into Guantanamo, but they weren't able to come back into society until they changed their ideology.
Yep.
So that was a trial run, because that was anyone that spoke up against the United States government.
Re-education.
Yeah. That opens up another can, of worms, especially when you talk about Gad. When Esau came and he established
schools.
The boarding schools. They had to cut their hair. They had to rename themselves.
And that's where you have the red list, the blue list, and the yellow/green list.
Con.
The red list is if you are on the red list, which we are on the red list,
right,
instant termination.
Right.
Blue list is termination also, but possibility of
reform.
But then if you're in a yellow or green list, pretty much you're not a threat.
Right.
All they're gonna do is just take you to re-educate you.
Yeah, and that's what happened, and that's what they want to do in this time. But they're gonna use the MOTB to be the monetization of everything.
Yeah, and if you notice those futuristic movies, the people that are functioning in that system, the regular people, they're always usually sedated, like in a robotic state.
Right.
They have they're just walking around like bugged out.
Empty-headed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're empty-headed.
Yep.
And that's what, not for nothing, I'm sorry, I gotta say, that's again the importance of the doctrine. To have your mind fortified, to be rooted, in the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai.
And knowledge and wisdom shall be
the stability of thy time, and strength and salvation. So you have to have the right doctrine. If you don't have the right doctrine, you're susceptible to the lies of the devil. You're susceptible to be taken caught. You're on the yellow list, man. If you don't got the right doctrine, you're on the yellow list. Yeah. You just bait.
Yeah, you're not a threat.
You're not a threat.
You're just gonna be rolled on and then re-educated. They're gonna slap a micro C hip in you, and that's it. Blue list, some of them are gonna fight, get taken out, and some of them are gonna comply.
Yeah.
Red list, they know these guys are a threat. There's nothing you could do. They're just a threat.
That's right.
Roll out the guillotine.
Yeah.
Let the heads roll.
That's it. Yeah, man. Just make examples, But guess what? The Spirit of the Lord is going to lift up a standard against them.
Yeah.
And that's another reason of being within, the confines or the wings, the shadow of the wings of the Almighty.
Yeah. That's it.
So that we have a defense.
And that's why Michael and the angels are going to have to stand up.
Yeah.
And the Lord said matter of fact, let's end it with that.
Go back.
Isaiah 59.
Okay.
And 19.
Yes, sir.
So when these devils start to roll in those numbers and in that fashion and in that madman spirit, the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, is going to cause something to intervene between Esau, his military and all that, and the elect of the nation of Israel.
Come.
So now some of the elect are going to get put to death. Why? Because that's a part of the prophecy. But for the most part, the majority of the elect are not going to be touched. You know, what I mean by that is that they're not going to be put to death.
Right.
You might grab them up, you might talk, whatever you do,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to put them to death.
Yeah.
Because the Lord is going to be there with them.
And
it's going to cause, it could cause the earth to open up, swallow you devils. It could cause, you know, the detention center where you're at to open up and, you know, Jake escape, or they could put the spirit on one of the guards there to let you go. You know what I mean? We don't know. We're going to see what's going to happen.
Some can get raised from the dead.
Yep. Yeah.
You know?
And you could have a chariot come.
Yeah.
And intervene.
Yeah.
Or an angel appear.
Yeah.
You know, like the dream the elder apostle Tar's woman, his wife, had years ago, where she said that the angels were pushing the women and the children out. I'm not sure if there was anybody else. And it was a big angel. And then when they started shooting, the angel put like a force field around them. I forget exactly all the details.
Right.
You know, I know Elder Pastor, you know, knows the details better. You know, but that's something like that. A gigantic, super gigantic angel.
Yeah. A force from out of this world.
That's it. Divine intervention.
This is Isaiah 59 and 19.
Let me get that real quick.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. There's great things to look forward to when you in the blood of Yahweh Shai.
There you go.
You know, we're not in this thing. You know, I know we're saying all these different details and breaking things down. It's gonna get harder. It's gonna get worse. But guess what? It's gonna get brighter too.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we're going through the testing grounds right now. You know, we're going through the fire right now. And this is the Lord, unbeknownst to us, really. This is the Lord really hardening us when that time comes.
Yes, sir.
You know, and when that time comes, if we be a part of the elect, the Lord's going to put that spirit in us. Yeah. And no matter what, we ain't going to budge.
That's right. And we know that through the spirit. Man. Yeah. Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, from the west.
Well, I guess that discounts certain individuals. Yeah. They don't fear the name of the Lord. That's why they make fun of it.
Yeah. Fuck them. You know,
basically,
it's like you know, and whatever comes to you, good for you, man.
That's the raw deal.
You know, and His glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai shall lift up a standard against him.
Right. So there's going to be something that's going to be lifted up that's going to stand in between the elect and Esau. Yeah. And the word there for spirit is a capital S, which goes to the word Rakha. Yeah. You know, so it's going to be a spiritual divine intervention. Right. Let's see if this comes up. If not, you know, we'll get ready to close because this thing be acting stupid. Stupid.
Yeah, another story when Peter, when he was jailed, you know, and remember, and then the woman and then the other disciples, they was in there praying for Peter. Yeah. And then the angel came and delivered him. So the prayers is important too. There's a reason why we pray. And we're praying for the time that we're about to enter into. Yeah. These are the individuals, the Most High hearing their prayers, you talking about the nations can be saved. That's blasphemy, man. Yeah. You know, the scriptures tell you that the prayer of the righteous pierceth the clouds. That's it. And the Most High going to make a speedy intervention in that time, man.
That's it.
You know?
It says wind, breath, mind, spirit. I just want to get one more if it'll go through. And the word standard, you got the word nawas, which goes back to the word nas. Yeah. Which means a standard. Yeah. To flee, to escape. Yeah. So the Lord's going to cause something to happen for us to be able to escape the clutches of Esau. You know?
Come on. That was it on that. Yep.
So you got anything else?
No.
All right. So with that, you know, this is the National Guard told to create quick reaction forces for civil unrest. They're going to roll it out January 1st, according to all of the information that's out there, 2026. So we're waiting to see what's going to happen and go down. We pray that everything moves forward. Elder Pastor just did a lesson. Within 800 and some odd days, you know, the EU, you're not going to be able to use cash out there. You know, so the ball is rolling. Right. So while the ball is rolling and these devils are rolling out their agenda, you have these sellouts that's putting the people back to sleep. Right. Putting Jake back to sleep.
Right. They're sellouts. That's what the sellout does, man.
So with that, we pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time we say, Shalom.
Shalom.